Susan Collins, the sainted Susan Collins, and the hyper religious freak fuck Mitt Romney. And who's the other one? Who's the one from Lisa Murkowski? Oh, Lisa and Susan and Mittens. Oh, my goodness sakes. You son of a bitches, you just couldn't find it in yourselves to vote for this economic package. I don't give a shit what they want to call it. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Pick a name. It really doesn't matter. But you three so-called moderate Republicans, Saint Susan Collins, well, I didn't know what to do about it. I just decided I wasn't going to. And Lisa Murkowski? You live in a state, Lisa, you're a senator from a state that's being ravished by the carbon industry. And Mittens, oh, you miserable son of a bitch, you. Why don't you go sing with the Tabernacle choir or something with your holier-than-thou attitude? But not a single Republican senator could find it in themselves to rise above their bullshit, destructive, Christian terrorist attitude and vote for this bill. Well, okay. So the Democrats pushed this economic package to the point where it passed yesterday, Sunday. Hard-fought compromise. Hell of a lot less in it, less ambitious than Biden's original domestic vision. But it's a bill that does meet some party goals of slowing global warming, which, by the way, let me just say, is about the best we can do is to slow it. We are not going to stop it. Not in this century. And you and I will not be around to see the outcome of this century. We won't be. But we may have grandchildren who might. I mean, this is 2022, right? That's only 78 years from now. But we are not going to stop global warming in this century. But if we can slow it, to give technology, to give science a chance, maybe through hydrogen fusion to find a beautiful substitution for carbon-based energy production, we might have a chance. The human species might have a chance. But these Republican scum, they're not even Republicans, these Christian terrorist scum couldn't find it in themselves to, not even one of you fuckers, not even one of you, to slow global warming, to moderate the cost of prescription drugs, to start taxing immense corporations at 15%. You couldn't even find it in your dirty, rotten souls to do that. Jesus Christ, these people make me sick. So anyway, because of the way the procedures work now, the bill comes back to the House, and it should be passed this week and signed into law by Biden by the end of the week. But it's a almost $800 billion package. And cheers broke out. I don't know if you're watching any of this on C-SPAN, but cheers broke out as the Senate Democrats held united. And then Kamala Harris had to cast a deciding vote to make it 51-50 after an all-night session where amendment after amendment after amendment was attempted to hammer onto this bill. Had any of these amendments passed and been added to the to this bill, it would have caused the parliamentarian of the Senate to take another look at the bill, and maybe she would have said, "No, wait. Now it's become a tax bill." Or now it's become a this bill, however that works. I'm not exactly sure. But the Democrats held firm, would not allow any single amendment, even by members of their caucus, certainly not by these Christian terrorists, to be considered. Biden, in a statement from where he is, vacationing with his family in Delaware. I guess this was yesterday. Yeah. He said, quote, "Today, Senate Democrats sided with American families over special interests." He said, "I ran for president promising to make government work for working families again, and that is what this bill does, period," end quote. Yes, it does. To the extent that it does anything, it does do that. Yes, it does. It is not what Bernie Sanders wanted. It is not what Mike Malloy wanted. It is not what you wanted, perhaps. But it is something. It is something. Biden also urged the House, when it comes back to the House side of the legislative branch, to hurry up and get this passed. Pelosi said that the House would move swiftly to send this bill to the president's desk, and the votes from the House are expected Friday. I shudder to think what might happen between now and Friday, but at least we know it's out of the hands of the Senate, where Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema could have fucked with it. Chuck Schumer said, quote, "It's been a long, tough, and winding road." Sounds like the Beatles, doesn't it? But at last, we have arrived. You know, one thing Schumer should never do is try to sound at least a bit poetic or philosophical. It just doesn't work for you, Chuck. It really doesn't. But I understand what you're trying to say. I'm sorry. I'm just being a snot. And then Schumer said this. I'm sorry. This is what he said, quote, "The Senate is making history. I am confident the Inflation Reduction Act will endure as one of the defining legislative feats of the 21st century," end quote. Really? Okay. Well, what do I know? That just sounds a little over the top, doesn't it? A little grandiose, a little, no, maybe not. So, The Democrats in the Senate, in this all-nighter, Saturday night into Sunday, apparently they had to knock down 36 attempts by these Christian terrorist amendments that were designed to torpedo the legislation. 36 times, these fuckers. I mean, what are they trying to prove, the Christian terrorists? Well, it's very simple. Their main goal is to destroy democracy, to make life so fucking miserable for people in this country that the voters will just decide, well, I'm going to go for the dictator type because something has to be done. I need daddy. I don't want consensus anymore. I don't want people voting. I just want daddy to tell me what to do. This is what Christian terrorists do. This is what Christians have always done. But the Christian terrorists are willing to destroy everything in their path to get what they want. That was certainly evident Saturday night into Sunday. Susan Collins, give me a fucking break. Anyway, 36 times the Democrats said to the Republicans, no amendments. And the Democratic caucus held in this 50-50 chamber. And then it kept the Democratic Party on track for what has to be felt in Democratic electoral circles as a morale-boosting victory. And we're less than 100 days. I've heard that so many times over the past couple of days. I have watched a lot of TV in the past couple of days, but I've heard that so many times. We're 99 days away from the November elections. We're 97 days away. Okay, I get it. But this is what the Democratic Party needed. Now, how many American voters are going to understand what the Democrats were capable of doing? And again, I'm not going to poo-poo a victory. A victory is a victory. It's not the victory envisioned by Joe Biden. Just get this done 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. It's not that. But it is something. And it is more than something. It is a good thing. Now, the only time the bill ran into real trouble was, I guess, Saturday during the day, over objections to this new 15% corporate minimum tax that private equity firms and some of the most capitalist operations in this country objected to. And that forced but despite that moment, the 15% corporate minimum tax held. But anyway, this so-called Inflation Reduction Act, isn't that a funny name? A showcase for, in this election cycle, this election year that they desperately need, capable of doing. And I have to agree with Schumer on one thing. He was necessary about what he and the Democratic caucus had accomplished. To get something like this passed is pretty phenomenal. It really is, because within the Democratic Party, you do have moles and trolls. You do. The Democratic Party is the Democratic Party. And there are people in the Democratic Party who would just as soon fuck up the whole thing as take a drink of iced tea. I mean, they don't give a shit. They're political creatures. I don't know why they do the things, some of these Democrats, that they do, but they do them. But Schumer was right. In order to get something of this magnitude passed in a Congress that is 50-50 was remarkable. So, okay. The bill does include the largest ever, and this is kind of sad, but again, I'm not going to poo-poo something that's moving in the right direction, but the largest ever federal effort on climate change. $400 billion, more than half the money, will be devoted to that one way or the other. It also puts a cap on out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors on Medicare, puts a cap at $2,000 a year. Of course, again, to me, that is just a fucking slam in the face. There shouldn't be any charge for medicine. No, there shouldn't. Once you're on Medicare, hell no, there shouldn't. It also extends subsidies that were running out that help 13 million people afford health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. So 13 million people now will not lose their health insurance. What the fuck were the Christian terrorists trying to do? Did they want the 13 million people all of a sudden to be without health insurance? Of course they did. They want them to die. Christianity is a death cult. Period. Except for the fact that it's bloody and violent and vicious. But every time these fuckers take a vote, you can tell what is motivating them to be so goddamn hateful and vicious and corrupt. It's their religion. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.